What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Hope you're enjoying season 18. I've had an absolute blast in the near 2 weeks that we've had so far. Pushing multi-shot has been an awful lot of fun. It's been a really good speed build. Now I've done a couple of guides on that, so I'll link them in the description, but as we've had nearly 2 weeks, I thought it's probably a good time to have a look at what's on the leaderboard and what are the top 10 highest clearing builds for this season. Now, the list is based on both the EU and US servers, so I've been through both sets of leaderboards. I've also done both softcore and hardcore. Now for the hardcore list, there's a timestamp in the description because the softcore one will be up just as soon as I've welcomed everybody who's new to the channel. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so, and a thumbs up is always appreciated. So with that said, I thought we'd jump into the list. Now I'm going to do the format a little bit differently this time around this season. I'm just going to give you the list, so it'll be on screen now and we're just going to go through it. We're going to talk a little bit about the builds, we're going to go through some of the things that are missing and some of the variants that are on there and just have a little bit of a chat. And I want the list to be up the whole way just so that you can screenshot it, you can follow along and you can go off to YouTube and search whichever build it is. Now before we do get into the list and before we get on to the honourable mentions, comment below, let me know which build guide would you like to see next from the channel. Do you want me to make any of these builds and do you a guide? So whichever one gets the most upvotes or comments, I'll add that to my video schedule list. So looking at the list, I think the first thing is an omission. One of the classes doesn't even feature. It's very surprising. It's Monk. The highest Monk build I could find was 118 with Legacy of Dreams Wave of Light. Obviously it is early in the season and maybe a generator build will surface a little bit later. Maybe somebody will push Wave of Light a little bit harder, but it is a bit sad that it's not on there. I think all classes really should have a spot in the top 10. One class shouldn't be so dominant that it's so far ahead, so I do think Monk needs looking at. Now I think it also probably needs looking at from another perspective, because realistically it's pretty much Wave of Light, Wave of Light, Wave of Light. So I know there's going to be some changes for the next patch, so I'm kind of hopeful that maybe Monk will get a rework, but it misses out. So looking at 10th place, and this was a 119 on the EU server, and this is the Legacy of Dreams Mages for the Necro. Now I pushed with this a little bit last season, I wasn't a massive fan of it. The speed variation build is really nice. I've reworked that this season, so I'll link that again in the description. But it's squishy, so pretty much anything touches you, you're going to die, which is obviously a little frustrating, but it is a kill everything build, which is not sort of the case for a lot of the Necro builds. They tend to be very kind of elite hunter specific, so it's nice in that regard, but it gets us in 10th. Now in 9th, also with a 119, we have the Might of the Earth Barbarian. Now this is just Leapquake. This is my favourite, probably my favourite build of all time. It's just so fun to look at. I love the fire everywhere on the screen. It's really easy to play, it's very tough, it's tanky, it's forgiving, and I'm kind of pleased that Barb's got on here. Not sure whether they'll hang on for too much longer. It would have been nice maybe to have seen some Legacy of Nightmares Hota, but again, Barb really hasn't had too much of a rework. None of the new items seem to overly benefit the Barb particularly, and as the Barb community's complained a little bit, they seem to be lacking in DPS. So again, hopefully next patch Barb will get a bit of a buff, but it's sneaking in 9th place with Might of the Earth. Next up, we've got a classic build, the Con set. Now this is made a 120 on the EU server. Interestingly, this uses the new set, so it uses the crafted Oggild set and also the Crimson's one. We did do a starter build for this at the start of the season, just to show how powerful this was, and that was blamming out content really easy with very low Paragon. So it's not much of a surprise that with fully augmented gear and Paragon, this is jumping up to 120. Again, it's nice to see this build. It's a fun one. I've played it quite a lot in the past. It is a good build, it is fun, and it's really good for speed farming as well. Now I am curious at some point as to whether somebody's going to make a Legacy of Dreams version of this. Obviously you're going to have resource issues, but the multiplier on a con is so low that it does beg the question, can a Legacy of Dreams build be found? So maybe by the end of the season Condemn will be on Legacy of Dreams, but for the moment this build hits really hard and a 120 clear for a con. Now next up, again with the 120, we've got the Shadow Impaled Demon Hunter. This is the lightning variant, so using the Ricochet rune, it's pretty much beating out multi-shot. If you look through the boards, there are far more players with higher clears with Shadow than multi-shot. And I'd say that the multi-shot clears that I did find, actually, they tended to have more Paragon and probably better gear, so it does look as though Shadow is going to be better for pushing than UE, which is a bit of a disappointment. I think the highest UE clear again is about 118, so not making it on the list, but Shadow, classic build, very powerful, not using any of the new items, just as it was last season, but pretty good clear, and on we move. Now next up we've got another Demon Hunter build. This is the Legacy of Dreams Rapid Fire. Obviously this has lost a little bit of power from last season because we now have to give up one of the gems to work in the Legacy of Dreams gem, but it still does look like it's going to be the strongest Demon Hunter build this season. It is rising up to the top, and I do think it probably can go a bit further than Shadow, but again we'll have to see how things play out. But again, Demon Hunter, I think to have 3 push builds all within 3 levels of each other at this stage of the season is pretty nice. I'm enjoying the class a lot, it has been a lot of fun, so yeah, Rapid Fire, pretty strong. Now we move into the top 5, and in 5th we've got the Legacy of Dreams Dagger of Darts Witch Doctor. Now I expected this to be a pretty strong build this season. I probably would have expected it to be a little higher. Maybe I overestimated how good it was because I gave Witch Doctor, I think, 2nd best when ranking classes at the start of the season. But it's still very powerful. Again, similar to the Rapid Fire, it's lost a little bit of power from last season. Doesn't seem to be hurting it too much. 1-2-1 clear on the EU server is pretty good, and it's actually beaten out by a different Witch Doctor build, which we'll get to in a minute. Now in 4th, this is a build that I also played last season on hardcore, Legacy of Dreams Blessed Shield Crusader. Again, it has lost a little bit of power because of the Legacy of Dreams gem, which you've got to take now. But again, it's really easy to play, it's very tough, tanky, does a lot of damage, and it's a lot of fun to play as well. So quite happy that this gets in the 4th spot. Nice build, really do like the Crusader, so yeah, it's pretty strong. And this brings us to the top 3, and in 3rd this is a bit of a surprise. It's Zunimasa Witch Doctor. Now again, it's a Dagger of Darts build. I've played this off season, I've tried it. I said that the Necro mages, if anything touches you, you die. With this particular build, if anything sneezes near you, you die. It's very hard to play, and I'm not sure whether it's just a fishing issue, whether somebody's managed to get a rift with mobs that don't have any projectiles, but I found it very, very squishy when I tried it. But obviously it's a build that can go very far. Zuni's actually has got a 1500% multiplier as opposed to the 15,000% multiplier as opposed to the Legacy of Dreams, which has got about 10,000. So it does carry an extra punch. You've got to hit with a mana spender, which is a bit of a pain, and you obviously lose the flexibility, but it does certainly seem, if you get the right rift with the Squirts necklace, with the Zuni bonus, you can clear a really high level. I mean, to be fair, I think the previous clear was a 1-2-3, and that was up only a few days into the season. It's absolutely bonkers how strong this is. So again, it's kind of nice. Witch Doctor, traditionally over the last couple of years, has probably been pretty crappy class to play, so I'm kind of pleased they've got a couple of builds in the top 10. So into 2nd, guys, no surprise here, the Thorns Legacy of Dreams Necromancer. Now again, this is not a build I particularly enjoy. I don't like the fishy nature of it, I don't like the fact you only kill elites, but it is definitely the Necro's most powerful build. The removal of the gem doesn't seem to have hurt it too much, so again, obviously it's a Legacy of Dreams build. It's starting to creep up there. I expect that this 125 will be improved on dramatically as soon as somebody finds the right rift, and it will start to pick up a bit of speed, but it's now emerging on the boards. So 2nd place, Thorns Necro. And guys, you knew the answer to this before you clicked on the video, I'm sure. Number 1 is Veers. It is absolutely crushing it. 131 on the EU server. It's just bonkers strong with the squirts. It's, that Ashnagar's Blood Bracer, the fact that you can take probably what was the strongest build out the gate last season and the strongest build for a long time last season, and essentially give it a double damage modifier. I mean, fine, you've got to rework it a little bit, but it's absolutely crackers. It's so strong, it's so powerful, it's absolutely streets ahead of everything else. And I think probably there should be some kind of balance redress. I don't think the game needs something that's going to be top completely every single season, so I would like to see some form of balance brought to this. But guys, if you want to play the best build in the game, it is the Veers Chantodo Wizard, and it is a lot of fun, and it is fairly easy to play. It doesn't take too long to get the hang of it. So that's the softcore list, as you can see, 1 to 10. So let's move on to the hardcore. Now hardcore actually I think is a bit interesting sometimes to go through. There obviously aren't as many people playing it, there are more people playing non-meta stuff. So I might actually roll a hardcore character as the main next season, I'll see how it goes, but you do get a few kind of more interesting variants. Obviously any kind of glass cannon build is pretty much out because it's just not worth the risk of getting that one extra level higher, particularly not the 2-week stage of the season. Maybe later on when ripping your character doesn't matter too much, but at the moment there are a lot more builds in here that will be kind of tougher. Now in last place we've got the Barb in 10th. This is with a Legacy of Nightmares Hota. That's quite interesting. I think that's kind of cool. It's obviously fairly new. Your Legacy of Dreams, it's not a meta build for sure, so 112 of that is pretty impressive, and it just about beats out the 9th place, which is a 113 IK Hota clear. So Hammer of the Ancients in 9th and 10th place for the Barb. So it is a very tough build. Barb is tanky class, so not really too many surprises I suppose. Now in 8th we've got a 113 clear on the EU boards with the Shadow Classic. So this again is with the Lightning Rune. Very tough, very tanky build, very easy for hardcore. So again, Shadow getting in there on 8th place. So next up you might think I've gone crazy and I put Shadow on here twice. It is meant to be on here twice because this is a slightly different build. This one takes the Orgild set, so it gets the extra toughness and damage from that, and it's also using the cold variant, so it's using the cold rune. Now it's interesting that on softcore this hasn't been the preferred option. It does seem as though people are sticking with the classic, but on hardcore maybe it's the extra damage reduction, but it seems to be clearing a little bit higher, so we'll have to see if that continues. So in 6th place we've got the Legacy of Dreams Wave of Light Monk, so at least Monk is making it onto hardcore, so that does show that the build is fairly powerful. And if you think about it, this is a little crackers, it's only a couple of rifts behind the softcore, so it just seems as though maybe Monk, maybe just nobody's playing it this season, maybe again because the class needs a bit of a mix up, but anyway, on hardcore 116 Legacy of Dreams Wave of Light, pretty decent clear. Also on 116 but considerably faster is the Legacy of Nightmare Rapid Fire Demon Hunter. So again, this does look like it's going to be the best Demon Hunter build this season. Pretty tanky, pretty tough, and pushing fairly high. Now in 4th we've got the Akan build that we talked about on the softcore list. So again, this does take the Orgild set and the Captain Crimsons. It is a very powerful and very tough build. Crusader is one of the better classes for hardcore, and again it's a pretty strong build. There will be room to grow in this. As I said earlier, it might be interesting to see if somebody comes up with a Legacy of Dreams version, but for the moment the Akan starter set with the greens mixed in, Orgilds and Crimsons, looks pretty strong. Now we get to the top 3, and in 3rd we've got Invoker, the Thorns Crusader. This is cleared at 119. This is a very hardcore friendly build, normally very high up in the leaderboards. Doesn't look like much has changed for this build. It seems to be run in exactly the same way it always has. So again, very high clear. Just pipping it in 2nd place, we've got the Legacy of Dreams Dagger of Darts Witch Doctor. That's cleared at 120. So again, really powerful build. Again, as we say, it's nice for the Witch Doctor to have had a bit of love in the last few patches. Now in 1st by a mile, again it's Vias. 129 on hardcore on the EU servers is absolutely bonkers. It kind of just shows why this build is so strong, because you can push that high without dying. It's so early in the season for hardcore, that's absolutely crackers. This person has played and not ripped their character once in 2 weeks and got to 129. That is absolutely bonkers. Now in terms of the hardcore list, you'll probably note that Thorns Necro is missing. It will get there, it's just not many people play hardcore Necro. It is a squishy class, and the Thorns does take a bit of time to set up, so I'm sure when we come back and look at this maybe in a week or two, then it may well be that the Thorns Necro is appearing, but at the moment the highest Thorns Necro clear just doesn't quite make the cut. So if you want to get away from Thorns Necro for a little bit, maybe play some hardcore. So that's it guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave me a thumbs up if you have. As I said at the start, if you hit in the comments and upvote something, let me know which of these builds would you like to see a build guide on, and I'll do my best to get to it as soon as I can. So good luck in Sanctuary, I hope you're enjoying the season. I will catch you in the next video. Peace.